I'm recording now, here with Elaine, and she did not want the questions in advance. The first question is, what is most important?
Most important? Well, the first thing that came to mind was love. But that's really a big question, isn't it? Or it's a simple word, but it's a big answer. So what does that mean? It's a feeling of more than goodwill, but goodwill is definitely part of it. It's about good, caring, taking care of.
One of my little wordisms is that the only things that have value are love and freedom, and they only have value if you give them to others.
And that's the trick with love, is you have to feel the love in yourself and give it in order to make more. Right? It only multiplies when you give it away. Yeah. But love is also a very personal word and has very personal meanings to probably everyone. And I don't think that I could, in a very short time, go into all the nuances of exactly what it means to me.
All right, then give me the example the first time you thought you were in love.
Oh, but I'm not talking about in love, and I'm not definitely.
Oh.
Love is not in love. And
Then tell me the first time you felt the love you're talking about.
Maybe when I held my baby for the first time after he was born.
That is a very powerful experience that I've heard people express.
Yeah, that would be, and not to say that I haven't felt romantic love, but that's not, the love I'm talking about is not confined to any, and I almost would prefer to exclude romance from it, but of course it's included, but it's not the biggest part and the biggest thing about the love. And I'm talking about just see, so is it, like I said, love is a very hard thing to define because it's so personal to everyone. Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
You're satisfied with that answer?
I am.
Okay. Second question is, what is your history with religion, and at what point or points did you decide it was and or was not for you?
I was born an atheist. Actually, that's kind of funny because I would assume that actually most people probably are. God has to be learned and religion has to be learned. I was raised outside of the church. My parents did not go to church and didn't. And we, can't tell from the camera, I'm white. Our family lived in an all-black neighborhood. Everyone went to church but our family. So we already stood out one way because of the color of our skin. But we stood out another way because we didn't go to church and everyone else did. It didn't take them long to figure out we didn't go. So we were always being invited. So one day I asked my dad, I said, "We don't believe in that, huh?" And he said, "Right, we don't." So that's how I knew I was raised atheist, which is really interesting because my brothers will deny that we were raised atheist. My mother always talked about having been raised, she was raised Catholic, and she rejected the Catholic Church. But she never said anything beyond that. She just wasn't Catholic anymore. So I actually was born again later. So, growing up, and really important thing happened in the 4th grade when I refused to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance because of the words "under God." On my own, I just decided that I don't believe in God. I know my family doesn't. I'm not going to keep saying this. And I was 9 years old, right? And
Good for you.
but it was really unfortunate because it led to a journey of mine where I wound up being born again and really, really trying hard to find out what I was missing with all this church stuff, and really going the full fundamentalist route for a while, years, trying to get it. And I, was baptized, immersion baptized, and all this. And then one day I just said, face it, you're not getting it, you don't believe, you're not going to. All the praying for it, you can keep praying, and you are not going to get something you don't have. You don't have faith, you think it's bunk. And then I had to really examine that. And part of coming to know who I am was all the, what all does that mean? Okay, I don't believe. Well, does that mean there's no heaven? Right. Does that mean that when you're dead, you're just dead? Yes. And that was kind of like, wow, yeah, I did. That's it. I really believe that. I really believe that when you're dead, you're just gone. There's nothing. There's no spirit, there's no spark, there's no heaven, there's no afterlife, there's no reincarnation, there's no fucking karma. And that's one of the ones I really don't like, is the whole karma. When people put karma, oh, that's karma. I got some good luck, oh, that's karma. No, because that means everything bad that ever happened to me was because I deserved it in some way. And that is so fucking wrong. That really breaks my heart. No, I won't go with karma. Nope, not that either. So, the hardest thing about, it was easy. It was like a relief for me. It was like a weight lifted. Yes, this is who I really am. Mm-hmm. I know who I am. I don't believe. I'm good. That's great. And it really is coming back around to the way I was raised. But coming out, like to my brother, it's a very slow process, and I can't say that I'm out. I'm kind of quietly out. I keep my mouth shut and bite my tongue in a lot of places, which I don't like that I do, but it's for self-preservation, of course. What happened in the 4th grade? My classmates, the word got out that I didn't believe. Hundreds of kids came and crowded around me and to interrogate me on how could I possibly not believe, and where do you think you came from, and did you come from a monkey, and and I'm trying to answer these questions as if some logic is going to, and of course they're not fighting with logic, they're just attacking me. And it was horrible. And it not only led to my trying to find religion, it had something to do with my keeping my mouth shut to my own children about my being atheist. I didn't come out to my own kids that I was atheist until they graduated from school. Until I sent them to Catholic school. The only thing I told them was, I can never be Catholic. I just left it at that and let them go to Catholic school not knowing. Now, of course, they know that I'm atheist. My oldest one, he'll flat out say that he's atheist. I think my younger one, he just says, I don't go along with religion. It's the cause of all the problems in this world. So he's maybe more agnostic as far as he hasn't really decided for whether he believes there's some deity, spirit, something, power. I don't know what it might be that he's not sure about. He is sure that he doesn't agree with religion. So that's a relief.
Have you heard me use the term apathetic rather than agnostic or atheist? It just doesn't seem to matter to me. I've spoken in front of Sunday Assembly before like this, and I don't know why it matters. Someone asks me either believe in God or believe that God doesn't exist. I'm like, no, what I believe is why are you asking me this question? I believe you intend to treat me one way or the other based off of my answer. So my answer is I don't care. You know, treat me with respect regardless of whether I think or don't think or believe or don't believe. So that was my argument with the guy. He wasn't trying to be conflicting or anything, confrontational, that's the word I was looking for. But he just had a question that I've heard other people ask before, and that's my answer for it. So, apathetic was what I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Are you satisfied with your answer on your history and back and forth and whatnot?
That's pretty much my history. It's not my full philosophy. You know, to be someone, if you really have a lot of faith and you believe that God is running everything and running the world, well, then this is how God made me. That's what I say to you. God made me with no faith in him. That's his fault.
Yeah. God told me he doesn't exist. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Why should I be at fault for my lack of ability to have faith? Why I don't understand why people who believe something in the face of all evidence to the contrary are somehow to be praised, applauded, when people who just say, no, I'm sorry, I kind of need something that helps me, some evidence, some supporting evidence, and I just can't seem to find any.
Or even a good reason. Most of good reasons are just to get along with people, and I don't need religion to do that, so I just try to get along with people regardless. I've heard arguments about, atheists want to eat dead babies and fornicate in the streets, and I haven't met one that claims to make that desire, to have that desire.
I'm an atheist. That means I just don't have any belief. It means that also I probably admit that I really don't know. I'm just saying I don't have any belief. I just can't take it without evidence. It certainly would preclude me from being a Satanist or whatever. And I tell you what, I trust an atheist over a Christian any day. Anyone who proclaims that they're atheist, I would trust more. Why? Because they're probably being scrutinized a little harder than everyone else. Because you can't trust my morals because they don't align with your book.
I have actually requested from my health care, the insurance companies, if they have atheist doctors. And that's not a category it's not one of their subcategories. So that didn't help. And of course they asked me why, and I said, well, because I want them to make decisions based off of evidence, not what they believe. Because I've been misdiagnosed all over the place. And so have many of the women on that website that I've talked about. So,
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with your religion answer?
I think I am.
Okay. The third question is my playful one. I've split it up into two different versions. It's, what about you is heroic? Now, the first part is in your real life. The second part is in your imaginary life. What kind of superpowers would you like to have if you had anything? So answer as you wish.
What about me is heroic? I'm not looking to really be a hero.
No hero
I'm
is.
just a nice person. I am reliably nice. So my mission, my personal mission statement, what is I want to leave this planet better for my having been here. And my value statement is no one has the right to purposely harm or hurt anyone else. That's it. That's my life. That's what I believe. And that's how I try to live. And so sometimes I might just be leaving the world better because I picked up trash. I saw some litter. People were stepping on it. I picked it up. That little spot in the world is just a little bit better because I did that. Maybe that's it. Or maybe I can help people. I can do things in small ways that help people and means a lot to them, and it's easy for me to do. Why not? So I look for ways to give of myself. And then what do I enjoy? You know, I have fun cooking. I love to cook for people.
And that involves the answer to your first question, love. I find frequently that people's heroic powers usually have to do with what's most important. So if you had any magical superpowers, like in a movie or comic book or fantasy tale.
Oh, I want to be able to beam myself wherever. I live way too far from my grandkids. If I could just beam over and play for an hour, that would totally beam me over there, Scotty. let me just do that.
So instant teleportation, instant
Yes.
transportation, something like that.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Cool. Okay, are you satisfied with your hero questions?
I think so.
Then the final question is, would you like to ask me anything? Obviously that's the yes or no question, but I would like you to ask the question
And I'm
if you have
thinking,
one.
do I have a question for you? How long have you been doing these?
I did it right about when I started going to Sunday Assembly, so about 2 years.
Okay. And do you feel like you are, it's helping you to connect with people?
Yes. As a matter of fact, a few of the people have answered what's most important is communicating with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the many honest answers I have for my reasons for doing this. Connecting with people, I think, is really good, especially when I have something in common or that one can add to the other. That to me is a big part of what this is about.
Yeah. So you're happy with what you're getting from it?
I do find it fulfilling. I remember asking David Diskin what he enjoys in addition to the other questions. I should ask you about Sunday Assembly too. I asked him, well, what does he like to do? He's like, you know what, these kind of interviews, these kinds of discussions, this is what I like to do. I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. One of the other spectacular things I've learned about Denmark is they have something called a hygge. And hygge literally translates into cozy or comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But they exemplify that. They pronounce that and just get together and have real discussions like this with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine in small or large groups. And I'm sure the spectrum is broad and wide. It is a country that likes to drink, and they are a very free-willed people. I saw a promotional video that was this woman holding a baby, describing this person that she didn't know his name, where they met, and she talked about hygge, and this is his child, and she wanted him to know, even though he left before she woke up in the morning, that she doesn't need any help. She just wanted to let him know that they have a child, and she's more than happy to take care of it, and she was very independent. I thought, wow, what a strong person, what a strong country. And it was being shown on an American television. Of course, they're all, oh, well, it looks like you go to Denmark to get laid. And it's like, that's not what it's about. You know, I think they missed the point.
I think they missed the point.
But they missed the point because I think that's what they would do if they went to a foreign country, to try to take advantage of their citizens. And, you know, it's like the argument about, you know, atheists just want to, you know, fornicate in the streets. It's like, no, why? Is that something you want to do? Is that something you need religion to avoid doing?
Why are you projecting that?
Yeah, so it's just sad. Anyways, did I answer your question completely? Because I
Yes,
go
you
off
did.
topic.
Yeah, you did.
Would you like to ask any more questions?
No, I think that was all my questions.
Well, then let me go back to Sunday Assembly. What does Sunday Assembly mean to you?
I started going to Sunday Assembly because I'm new to the area. I knew David Diskin from Stockton. And I liked the idea of atheist community, secular community. So I go to Sunday Assembly for the potlucks. And I know there's some people who show up with food and skip the rest. But I like the speakers too. I hate the singing. I hate the songs. I hate them.
Thank you. I've brought that up at many meetings and been ignored.
I know, it's part of, and I understand, it's just, we're doing it so badly, and I just wish that I knew somebody who played acoustic guitar for kids and knew how to get people. And then, yes, it's folk, but damn it, people who know how to get a crowd engaged. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to engage people, and we're not doing it. We sound like a dirge, and I'm a terrible singer. I can't help with that. I wish I could. I have told
For the record, you're a spectacular dancer.
Well, thank you. I try to get my energy into it as much as I hate it, because we sound so bad and we're so not into it as a group. We're not engaged in it.
And I don't see the need to play old 80s music either. And
Well, so that we're going to have a problem with, because you know what? It's like, to me, and then maybe I'll bring this up to the board, I would like some more, it doesn't have to be all the board making all the decisions. And it occurred to me, why don't we ask the congregation, are there any topics you're interested in? We can see if we can look in that direction. If you have contacts with those topics, great. But let's get ideas for topics from the congregation. Music too. But it's your turn to pick a song if you want. We'll draw straws. Let one song a week somebody from the congregation picked.
I have offered many ideas.
I know that would be hard to, but how really can't we mix it up a little bit?
I even had a list of subjects to discuss, and I think it was called very dense. I don't waste a lot of time on superfluous verbiage. So I say, well, this is what I want to talk about, and this is another thing I want to talk about, and here's 5 more things. It's like, wow, that's a lot of material. And so I said, well, could you pick one and let me attack it? And the first one was the medical cannabis, my eye surgeon doctor. Were you there for that one?
No.
I got my eye surgeon who corrected my eyes to come in and talk about medical cannabis, because that's what I've been using for the past 6 or 7 years. The joke is now I think I'm really funny.
I see myself as really funny.
Yeah. The other topic that they kind of liked was on redistricting, because I've been to other politics, philosophy groups, other discussion groups, and no one seems to know anything about it. And I was pointing out, well, the way the math works, you only need 51% of a district to get the whole district. Not all districts are like that, but enough of them are. And then enough states do the same thing, so you only need 51% of 51% of the state. So then if you need 51% of the states that need 51% of the counties that need 51% of the people, that's half of a half of a half. And that means if the top 1% can control the bottom 12 and a half, they rule the country. And I think that's a little bit about what's been going on. He didn't really get into that. He discussed, well, there are different groups that need special attention. Like this one is along the freeway corridor and they have to deal with this, that, and the other. So we make them a district so they have something to say, on the board. So they have to cut out other districts in order to do that. And
So whose interest do you give power to? That's basically what I see there.
yeah, so that's what his job was to make sure enough people got heard. I don't know how much that relates to my thing about the 50%. But if we went to a global government, we would then need half of that 13%. So another thing I think America, why they don't accept authority figures over them is that they just want pure autonomy. They want to be the overlords. No one's going to lord over them. So even though we had our own Americans with Disability Act up for grabs for a global agreement, we voted against it even though we came up with the idea. And that doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, I got way off topic.
So the assembly.
Yeah, you just wanted to be a part of the...
Yeah, and so I when I was originally asked about being on the board, I said no. I'm really pretty busy. I do the VITA thing. Of course that's only 3 months out of the year, but I just then I decided, well, the VITA, I should be able to do it. I can make time for it and I can do it. But I did it kind of not with the passion. It's like I kind of agreed, and I'm not. It's like I wish I had more passion for the whole thing than I do. But I just I hate the singing, and I know that David Diskin is very passionate about it. He really wants it to get going, and I kind of do too. But it's like not my highest priority of things that. So I will do as good a job as I can as treasurer, of course. And it's like I'm not going to do it if I don't do my best. But I don't. I feel like I don't know people who could speak. I don't. It's a lot of things that I'm not really good at for it, and I'm thinking that there could be better treasurers than me. There could be better board members than me, could contribute more. But I do what I can.
But you do have interests, don't you?
I do have interests, yeah. But my interests outside of it, I like to garden, I like to crochet, I like to play games and socialize with friends and family, and sit around and I like this kind of discussion too. Yeah. I like to just sit around and discuss whatever, philosophy, whatever.
One question I've asked, it's along the lines of what's most important, but what do you think the purpose of existence is, since you brought up philosophy?
Oh, I don't think there is a purpose to existence. How's that? And I think that we're all kind of on our own to make a purpose for ourselves.
There you go, right there. That's my answer. The purpose of existence is to decide what your purpose of existence is.
Yeah, we're on our own here. We can decide. So, what is it? Buddhists say it's happiness. Well, that's as good as anything. Be happy. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. It's superfluous stuff. Do what makes you happy.
Yep.
Better than doing things that make you miserable.
Yes. I have multitudes to add to that, but I don't want to keep you too much longer.
Yeah.
I do have other videos online where I've covered those kinds of topics about I have plenty of negative, bad stories. And if you want to hear them, they're there. But I would rather tell the good ones. It spawned from a neighbor always telling me these horrible stories. And I said, listen, Tab, I've got him on camera on my computer. He knows that I'm, trying to publish his stuff too. I said, listen, you got to tell me a good story. And the best he could come up with on the spot was that the wallet that his friend stole from him, he got back. And I said, well, that's not completely a good story. So trying to fish it out of him, I asked him what he wanted to be when he was a kid, when he grew up. And the first thing he could think of was watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and wanting to be a musician. So I said, okay, that's story number 1. Tell me story number 2. And he had to think about it, and he told them out of order, and we ended up getting them all in order, but we ended up with really good 8 stories. And I don't know if it was 8 or 9, but the last one he insisted that another good story was me telling him about these good stories that he has. I gave him a mason jar that I had, and he wrote down the topics and threw them in the jar so he could look them up anytime. It was his memory jar. He since then lost it, but he found one of the notes on the floor one time, picked it up and go, oh yeah, and had a good memory. So, for me, all that time was worth it just for that one moment. So that's another reason I do this stuff.
Cool.
Would you like to do any more discussion on camera, or are you done for the day?
I think I'm done for the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Not Elaine?
Not Elaine. Eileen.
Yes. You remember the story I told you, right? Yeah, I still got your badge on. All right, thank you.
All right.